Hedwig Herbarium presents How to Engage the Shadow in Lucid Dreams. In this video, we'll be looking at my shadow story, what is the shadow self, building lucidity, the encounter, the radical dialogue, and practical integration steps. Are you battling with nightmares and not sure how to interpret or deal with them? Are you being chased by an ambiguous, terrifying figure or facing a recurring nightmare? Instead of running or fighting back, imagine turning around, looking it in the eye, and asking, "Who are you and what do you want?" Engaging the shadow within a lucid dream is one of the most profound applications of dream work. It shifts the dream experience from passive observation or active control into deep psychological dialogue. Before we begin to explore how to become lucid in a dream or nightmare, I'm going to share a frightening dream where I confronted one of my shadows when I was 22. At the time, I was staying with a friend who was schizophrenic but also a psychologist. And what happened was I had a dream where I was sitting in an attic. I was sitting cross-legged at the time at one end, while a disturbing scene unfolded in front of me at the other end of the attic. At the other end, there was a little girl about 5 years old who was wearing a dirty, tattered dress, and she was eating the leg of a baby or a small child, and it was terrifying. She had jagged teeth and wild eyes. Her dress was stained with blood, and there were many small body parts scattered around her feet. She saw me and her eyes flashed, and then she floated up into the air and began gliding towards me. She gnashed her teeth, and I thought about fleeing, but something told me that I had to stay put and accept her. I opened my arms up as she got closer until she was in my arms. Then I wrapped my arms around her, even though I was horrified, especially seeing her evil eyes and her gnashing teeth with the blood dripping from her teeth so close to my face. But she instantly morphed into a frightened little girl and laid her head on my shoulder, sobbing. I comforted her and told her that everything was okay, and I knew when I woke up that I'd integrated a frightening side of myself that was born from childhood trauma, which I talk about in the Firehorse Grove playlist. The attic itself is the perfect archetypal setting, the highest, often dusty, forgotten storage room of the mind where we tuck away things we don't want to look at. I felt the terror and the urge to run, but chose not to suppress it. Opening my arms was a physical gesture of absolute non-defense. Holding the monster while it was still monstrous, not waiting for it to change first, fast-tracked my acceptance. I realized when awake that the evil or destructive force was a protective, starved armor built around my childhood trauma. By feeding it love instead of fear, the armor dissolved. This dream mirrored the Jungian reality that the most terrifying vampiric or destructive aspects of our psyche are often just deeply wounded, primal parts of ourselves that have been starved of love and locked away in the dark. When they're finally held, the monstrous defense mechanism melts away, leaving only the original pain. And I also wanted to differentiate between acceptance and approval. This is a nuance that trips many people up. When I opened my arms, I wasn't condoning the horrifying scene in front of me. I was accepting the reality that this wounded part of my psyche existed and needed to be met. Accepting the shadow means acknowledging its existence and its pain, but not agreeing with its destructive impulses. The shadow self is the rejected, repressed, or unacknowledged parts of our psyche. While waking shadow work is valuable, the dream state provides a direct, unmediated gateway to these hidden layers because the conscious ego has lowered its guard. In deep trauma work, the shadow often cannot speak at first. It can only shock, threaten, or weep. You cannot engage the shadow intentionally if you don't realize you are dreaming. Lucidity is the foundation. Attunement to dream signs, recognizing the bizarre anomalies or patterns unique to your dreamscape. The state check, moving beyond mechanical reality checks to deep, mindful awareness of your environment throughout the waking day. Setting the intention, programming the subconscious before sleep with a specific script. The next time I see a threatening figure, I will realize I am dreaming and I will stand my ground. In dreams, the shadow rarely looks like an abstract concept. It manifests as an antagonist, a pursuing monster, an aggressive stranger, an old adversary, or even a heavy, suffocating atmosphere. The pivot point or confrontation, the shift from fear to curiosity. Stop running. The act of running feeds the dream monster's power. Grounding yourself, stabilizing the lucid dream by focusing on the sensory details of the dream environment so you don't wake up from the emotional spike, and facing the threat, turning around to meet the figure with an open, non-defensive posture.
So, talking about the radical dialogue, it doesn't always mean a spoken conversation when confronting your shadow. The shadow manifests so aggressively or monstrously that words are sometimes impossible. The dialogue can become one of action, overriding the instinct to flee. So, the specific questions to ask the shadow figure once you're face to face are: what do you want? Why are you chasing me? What do you have to teach me? And what are you trying to protect me from?
Decoding the response. Dream psychology shows that the shadow may answer verbally, morph into something entirely different, for example, a terrifying beast turning into a crying child, like my dream I just shared, or it may offer a symbolic object. The archetypal shift. Embrace the paradox that the dark side is often just misdirected, primitive energy seeking acknowledgement. The dream is only half the battle. Lucidity opens the door, but real growth happens after you wake up.
So, here are some practical integration steps that you can do after you've done the confronting, if you've been able to do that in your dream. Um, is writing down your experiences and your impressions of what it means to you, what the shadow meant to you, um, without trying to rationalize the imagery, or without editing, just raw, just write it all down. Connecting to the waking life, asking where this specific energy shows up in your daily life, how it pans out in your interactions with others, or how you feel about things. Like if the dream monster was suffocatingly controlling, where are you suppressing your own control, or where are you letting others control you? And the alchemical acceptance is reclaiming the gold hidden in the shadow. Aggression might contain the seeds of necessary boundaries. Deep sadness might hold the key to long denied self compassion.
The shadow isn't an enemy to be destroyed, but an estranged part of the self waiting to be brought home. Lucid dreaming turns nightmares into collaborative inner healing. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for more. Blessed be.